Kia ora, and welcome to Beer Club. I'm Luke.
I'm Joe.
This week, cheers.
Cheers.
We are drinking Enkel, the Odd Assembly series from Heyday.
Yes, this is the first in a series of 4 Belgian beers. First beer being a single, so I'm sure you can guess what follows.
Could be anything, who knows? Who knows? Odd Assembly is the name of this quadrology of 4 beers that are going to be coming out one after the other. And I think the second one actually has just been released.
Yeah, the double has dropped, so obviously the triple to follow. But yeah, we were sort of most interested in this. Not that double and triple are common, but Belgian singles are a bit more uncommon.
Definitely are. And Heyday love doing some uncommon stuff. One of the more interesting breweries.
Yeah.
With their types of releases.
Yeah, they've just re-released their peated kelp stout, which is a favorite of ours. We featured it in Beer Club last year.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've had it's been going well over a year now, the sour and lager series, where every month there's a new kettle sour and a new type of lager.
Yeah.
Which has been great. Some really interesting beers have come out of that. And yeah, they're always sort of pushing flavors, pushing boundaries. Great core range, beers like Snow Leopard and Soul Cat.
Yep.
Just, classic IPAs. So yeah, great brewery to feature.
Yeah. If you haven't visited Heyday, it's a must-see. It's in Wellington, right at the top of Cuba Street. It's a really cool warehouse-type location, but really lovely outdoor area, so it's great in the sunshine, and it's just got quite a unique modern vibe. It's aquamarine and powder pink, and there's flamingos on the walls, and yeah, it's really sort of, I suppose, bears the design aesthetic of Hannah, who's the one of the founders. So it's founded by Hannah and Lewis after they took a great American road trip. It's quite a familiar story. There's a handful of breweries that have started in pretty similar ways, just getting inspired, traveling through Europe or traveling through the States and just seeing all the cool brewery tap rooms and cool craft breweries happening. So they got inspired in California and Oregon and trying lots of great beers. So they brought all that inspiration back and really have stamped their name onto the Wellington beer scene and the whole of New Zealand beer scene. And Hannah is a designer and an artist by trade. So all of their cool artwork, they win loads of awards for their brilliant designs. That's all Hannah's work. And there's also Ashley Switzer, who's the head brewer there, who's made a pretty big impact in his years there, and just a really fascinating person to chat to. Someone that really likes digging deep into getting the absolute best results possible, and doing some more interesting styles such as this.
Yeah, and I think I read them talking about they wanted to push yeast. Obviously a very long time ago, sort of malty beer was all the rage.
Yeah.
And then hoppy beer has had its sort of 15 plus years.
Yeah.
And they're predicting that yeast will be the next superstar in beer. So yeah, Belgian beers are characterized by the yeast and the esters that they give off. Something called phenols as well. So this is, I would say, a little less sort of phenolic than your classic, maybe Saison or a style like that. But still got that lovely kind of, uniquely Belgian ester profile.
Yeah.
Little tiny bit banana-y, but quite floral, bit of sort of lemon and
Yeah, it's relatively light-bodied. It's really easy drinking, and that's it. It's a Belgian single, so it's a Patters beer or a table beer really. So it is a beer that's designed for everyday drinking. Those sort of that world of styles that I love so much. Styles that you can just keep on drinking. We've got this on tap at the tap room at the moment, and it's absolute go-to.
I suppose it's not very far away at all from Queen of the Meadow. If you added a bit of meadow sweet to this, it might end up tasting quite similar.
Yeah, it's a really good point, actually.
Yeah, sort of that whole kind of bit of Europe. A lot of the beer is quite the same historically. So,
and as much as this is a style brewed by Trappist monks that has, it's been brewed for hundreds of years, it is relatively recently that you've actually, by you, I mean, not Trappist monks. I doubt if there are monks watching, welcome. Leave a note in the comments. But it's been relatively recently that non-monks have been able to actually buy these beers from Chimay and the likes, because they have not been released from the monasteries. So they generally are released as a blonde, or sometimes an Enkel. Enkel is a Dutch word. And because it is beer for the table, it's not necessarily seen as something that's super fancy. It's not the superstar like the triple, like the quadruple.
Yeah.
So it's great that us non-monks have got a chance to try these beers and really realise what they're all about in literally the last decade or so. Really, I think like maybe the 2010s that the Belgian brewers have started releasing some of these blondes.
Yeah, and I think gaining popularity. Belgian beer has always been seen as this sort of special thing and full flavored, and you buy a big 750 of Chimay, and it's quite strong.
Yeah.
But these kind of beers are light lagers for those of us who like to drink other things than light lagers.
like delicious, tasty things.
Because I was just going to say, we've noticed at the tap room, whenever we have a style like this on, it's actually just super popular.
You're out with your friends, you want to get a jug of beer.
Yeah. A little bit more intrigued than Bud Light or Carlsberg or Lion Red or something, but still just easy smashable, super crowd pleasing. Anyone would think, oh yeah, this is just a light, sort of clean beer.
Yeah.
But as we say a lot, there is layers there if you look for them.
Well, we often talk about, things that are like easy wins and easy sells, and things that are just going to sell out. Hazy pale ales are that, lagers are that. But a beer like this, it's not a risky beer to brew. You just make it and put it on tap, and it really does sell. Like even, normies that aren't craft beer wankers, which is really the way that things are turning as we're sort of swinging away from the sort of the hype years in craft beer. It's not a crazy thing for people to drink beers like this while they're at a gig or while they're eating a burger. So while it is unusual and rare to see, it's your normal friends that do not spend all the time watching videos on YouTube of a couple of dickheads talking about beers in beer club will also enjoy this beer. It's kind of beer for everyone, which is how it was designed and created to begin with. And we talked a little bit about the series, the single, Enkel, double, triple, and quadruple before. But just as a little bit of a recap, fill us in.
On what those styles are?
Yeah.
Triple is kind of like double this.
Yeah, totally.
And then double and quad are sort of double. Well, quad is kind of double.
So they're the dark ones, and these the golden ones, basically.
Yeah. Which I don't know how that ended up happening. It confused me for a while, but
lost in the mists of time.
Yeah. So I sort of lean more on the double and quad, although this kind of brings me back on the pale side. But I love the sort of complexity of the sort of darker malt with the Belgian yeast character.
Yeah.
But then you've got Tripel, which is. Tripels would usually be a bit darker than this, wouldn't they? Triple. Yeah,
darker, bigger bodied, more golden, I suppose, and sweet.
Very sweet. Yeah, very sweet, very estery sort of. Beers that for me are a little bit too much often.
Yeah.
Even a sort of 330ml bottle sometimes I kind of get halfway through and it's like, oh.
I love a good triple.
But so we haven't tried the double yet. Maybe we should get some in for the fridges, or
totally.
Give that a go, and triple and quad to come in the colder months as they sort of should be drunk. Those beers at room temperature in colder weather, not room temperature in summer. That would be gross as.
As they roll out. And then the two stronger ones in the series, so the triple and the quad, generally they need more conditioning time, so they condition in tank for longer. So maybe a little bit of a wait of a couple months or so before those ones get released. But absolutely eagerly awaiting and looking forward to them. And cool to see. It is innovation because no one does it, but it's an obvious thing to release these four styles as a series, and it would be cool to see more of. And it is hard work and it's a bit of a logistical thing to try and release beers in series, but when brewers do it, it's a really enjoyable thing as a drinker to compare things, get that experience, and I think sometimes about the I think it was the Northern Monk series that they did the hops, yeast, and barley trilogy that used to release each year. I don't know if you remember those.
No.
And it just was like a yearly release to look forward to, where it was just 3 beers will come out at the same time, and each one championed and showcased a different one of those 3 core ingredients. And yeah, that article you're reading from Ashley and Lewis, I think, at Heyday, talking about how yeast is going to be the next big thing. It's not. It will definitely grow and become more prominent, but it's not going to take over from hops in New Zealand as the champions. But like we spoke about in recent weeks, last week I think, about malt. There's so much to discover with yeast-forward beer styles and malt-forward beer styles, as well as hop-forward. And it's just just what everyone knows and is conditioned to. And, hops are the superstar of modern craft beer. But yeah, yeast-forward beers, man, incredible. And also for you brewers watching and home brewers, you can get a huge amount of flavour out of using all these different yeasts that you can get hold of. And yeast doesn't necessarily cost that much. Hops cost a fortune. And especially when it comes to lower ABV beers, you can really create something really cool with a really yeast-forward lower ABV beer, which you can't so much with hops.
And we were discussing recently as well, in coffee, there's a big trend of co-ferment, where when the coffee is fermenting in a barrel, basically rotting the flesh away so that the bean is exposed, the growers are adding fruits.
Yeah.
And they're not adding fruit juice to the cup of coffee. They're adding the fruit while the coffee ferments to impart the flavor of the fruit, and that's often through the yeast that is just found on the fruit.
Yeah.
And you mentioned you knew someone who had homebrewed a saison with yeast that propagated off a raspberry.
Yeah. So my great friend Ed in Cheshire did exactly that. He had a raspberry growing in his garden, and he took the yeast off it and grew it up on in a petri dish and fermented a beer with it. And the beer really had a bit of aroma and some flavour of raspberries, but no raspberries in there. Just the existence of, I suppose, the symbiotic culture, just the yeast that lives on there.
Yeah.
I suppose it is like we often think about the yeast that ferments Hefeweizen and the German beer styles is the same kind of yeast that's present in bananas. So that's why you have that flavour.
Yeah. So maybe something that will be explored in beer as hop research and everything maybe hits its peak, and there's only so many fruits that hops can represent. We've got coconut now. Like, what else can you do?
Done nectarines, coconuts. We've kind of run out.
So maybe that's a new thing. It's fermented with a berry yeast or a mango yeast. Or
you heard it here first. Brilliant work, Heyday. Love what you guys do. Love the innovation and the vibe and it's no small thing. Just the look of the can and just the experience that you're drinking it with. So as always, beautiful artwork by Hannah. And this weekend is NanoFest, right?
NanoFest, yep.
AKA Joe Fest. Joe just put together a little beer festival. It's going to be here at Small Glass Tap Room. Just for yourself, right? You don't really care if anyone comes. You just want to eat and drink delicious things.
I put a couple beers that other people like on the tap list. But
okay.
It's mostly a tap list of nano brewers who are some of my favorite, and all the best kind of styles. So every single beer will be amazing on that tap list. We've just finalized the pizza menu with our mate Dan. So 3 dope pizzas. I'm going to be here from start to finish, so I'll probably end up needing all 3. And a dope playlist full of the best music to drink beer to as well. Praying the weather holds out, but even if it doesn't, we'll be...
we have a roof.
Yeah, we'll be hanging out, drinking amazing beer. Should be a great day.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And so the pizza menu, Joe's created the pizza menu with our friend Dan. So some quite innovative ones on there. I was just looking through it earlier. Marmite inclusion, sounds delicious. Leeks and it's really delicious. There'll also be margaritas if you're a bit basic. Maybe we'll make you a thrown out of kegs or something. Just people can just come and
Doesn't sound very comfortable.
pay. Well, it doesn't matter. It's just the glory. Like who needs?
I reckon we put the comfiest chair in there on wheels, and then I can just move around in it all day.
Yeah, you can just wheel you around. People pay tribute. And this is Joe's going to be wrapping up here pretty soon and moving overseas. So if you want to come and meet this guy in the flesh and have a beer with him, Saturday is your chance. Head along to Joe Fest here at Small Gods from midday Saturday. Thanks for joining us. See you next time. Cheers.